All right, the assumption is that you've tried this and you're stuck, and there's going to be a lot of times that I'm like, okay, hit pause and do this, because I can't show you my calculator, people. All I can show you is this piece of paper and then the stuff that I draw on this piece of paper. So number one, over here I'm just reading, create a scatter plot on your calculator. Which of the following would be the best window to use? So I'm actually going to hit pause on my recorder, and I'm going to go and I'm going to hit the button Stat and then Edit. And remember that L1 is like your X's, so I'm going to do, 1, 32, 60, blah, blah, blah. And then L2 is your Y's, so 625. So anyways, hit pause, or I'm going to hit pause. You also hit pause if you haven't already done this. Create this chart, and then we'll come back to this question. Okay, so I've already entered this into my calculator, and now that I have everything, remember, you can actually hit window, and you can try all these out if you want to. I think the best way to do it might be to go to your y equals. You first have to turn plot 1 on. Remember, that's where you go y equals, highlight plot 1, and then I taught you guys a button called a zoom fit. So if you'll hit zoom, actually not zoom fit, zoom stat, it's number 9 on my calculator, and it shows this graph like really perfect, really pretty. And I'm going to do that first and then hit the window, because when you see the window, it's like giving you a good range of values. That's really bad. Let's see, I would go, what else did it give me? We want to make sure that we can see all the X's and all the Y's. So the Y's need to be between, for sure they have to go to at least 850. So let's see. And then what's the biggest X? The biggest X is a 6. Yeah, I think it's going to be this one, guys, because that one, yeah, because this X doesn't go big enough to see them all. So anyways, it's just kind of playing with your window and taking a look at it. Now, number 2, use the Corpus Christi day length data, which is what we just typed in, to calculate an equation using a regression on the calculator. Now, if you looked at the graph of this, guys, it looks a lot like this. Okay, so there's like a couple of things you can do. You might want to use quadratic, or you could use sine. This does look sinusoidal to me, which was fancy talk for a wave. So I'm going to go to the way you do it is you hit stat calc, and then you go down and find the right one. So I'm looking for sine, which is SIN, regression. And you shouldn't have to hit anything on here. I wouldn't hit anything on there. I would just go and I would do that thing where you go store regression, and I do alpha calc y1. So that was alpha calc y1, and then you do calculate. So this is just a normal, I'm going slow because I'm typing it in as we go. And this is the one mine is showing up. It has like A sine bx plus c plus d, and it tells me that the A is like a 104.42. It tells me that the B is a 0.01673. The C is like a negative 1.317, oh my gosh, 5. And then the D is 726.399. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's what it's giving me. So I'm going to go with it. Yay. All right, number 3. The equation blah, 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 blah represents the length of the days in Peru. And then it wants you to find the minimum point. So basically what I'm going to do is just like reset my calculator at this point. So second plus 712. Resetting everything so that I can just go type this into y equals. So you just type it in, right? 42.9757 sine 0.01636 x plus 1.893 close parenthesis 728.9 0.1372. Okay, so I typed all this in, and as far as a minimum point, I'm actually just going to like look at the graph first. Now, if you hit graph and you can't see anything, this is where you could do zoom fit if you want. That's what I'm going to do. Zoom fit. It's number 0 on mine. But then what it does is it shows me a picture that looks kind of like this. Whee, it does that. Okay, so I want to see like how low this thing goes. So I think I'm going to zoom out a little bit on this picture just to see like what in the world is happening here. Zoom out a little. Okay, so now when I zoom out, now yours may look different. You know, we have different calculators. Mine's going like this. Okay, and then it wants the minimum point. Well, shoot, it still is going really low. So how do you find a minimum? Alright, I'm going to zoom out again and see if I can find, you know, a minimum, guys, is like the bottom of the graph. Come on, baby. Ugh, sucky. This sucks. Okay, let me go to my Y's. And I need to see how low this thing goes. You're basically, this is kind of a trick question, I think, honestly, whoever wrote this. Coach Harbor. Oh, I found it. Okay, he wants you to mess with your window to where you can see that it looks like this. And then you're supposed to just find like how low that goes. So you want the smallest Y. So once you zoom out enough to see the bottom of that, then you can kind of scroll over and see it. And on my calculator, it looks like it's like at a 170. That looks like the lowest minimum value. So hopefully you guys can find that. If not, find Coach Harbor and we'll help you toy with the window to see that value. Okay, cool. Oh wait, I'm a liar. That's the X, stupid. Okay, the Y is 685? Yeah, 685-ish. Sorry, haha. So that's what I'm seeing. The X was 166 and we want the min, so we want the Y. Y value. Alright, cool. Enough of that. Oh, okay, number 4. So number 4, this we've been doing a few times. I hope everybody's getting good at this now. So we know our hourly, and we basically are going to assume that she works a 40-hour week, okay? So the first step, it wants a monthly income. So before we do anything, we need to find her gross monthly. And to find gross, I'm going to do 40 times 4, because there's 4 weeks. So 40 hours a week, 4 weeks in a month, and then $27 an hour. And if you guys do that correctly, 40 times 4 times 27, we're going to get this number, 4320. And I'm going to multiply that by all these taxes, okay? So I'm going to add the 1.45, the 15, and the 6.2. Oops. And then that's what I'm going to multiply this by. So 1.45 plus 15% and plus 6.2%. Now, as a percent, this is 22.65, but when I go to multiply, remember you move the decimal over twice. So make sure that you move that decimal, and that's what we're going to multiply by the 4320. And that right there, guys, is how much she loses to taxes, 0.2265. So this is what she's supposed to make, but you need to take this much away for all those taxes. And whatever's left over, that's going to be what she makes after taxes. Okay. Number 5, this one I don't even want to do, honestly, because y'all need to be able to figure this action out. 45,000 a year, we'll divide it by 12 to see how much he makes a month, and then take this other guy, 8-hour day, 5 days a week, hello, that's 40 hours, and figure out how much they make, and then answer the question. I'm not going to do that for you. Okay, number 6, finance app. Okay, hopefully you've read it. And if you have, it's like telling you she's typed all this crap in and she wants something to happen, and what's her mistake? Did she make a mistake? Okay, so right off the bat, I would check things like the amounts that are here. So this one looks good, this one looks good. 5 years, okay, 5 years would be how many months? Well, it sure as heck isn't 20, so I think A is her mistake. Going down to number 7, Samantha's considering investing money, la la la, which of the following function rules? Okay, so this is like, I think all of these, or almost all of these, are going to be using this formula, 1 plus r over n to the nt. So we're going to be using that formula that we've used a few times. P is how much you put in. That's just the number 1. R is the interest rate, so just remember to turn it into a decimal, so 0.0355. N is how many times you're compounding it. So annually, guys, is once a year, so the N would be 1. And then for how long? Well, if this one's a function, basically you don't know your time. So this is what it's asking you for. It's saying, well, it didn't tell you how long to put it in. It just wants to know, like, what's the equation. So there you go. Now, down here, we get to actually do some math on number 8. Suppose you invest $2,400 into a savings account with 0.0395 right up here in the top. Compounded quarterly, everybody. So quarterly is how many times a year? 4 times a year. So then that's going to be your N. And then how long do we want to do it? Well, we want to do it for 10 years. So since it's for 10 years, up here it's supposed to be RT, so 4 times 10. And so you're going to type all that in and you're going to get something. And I don't know what that something is. Let me type it in and then we'll see if we match. Okay, did you get that? Movie magic right there, people. Please round to the hundredths place because this is money and I'm pretty tired of people not rounding money correctly. These are pennies, everyone. Okay, and this is going to be the same kind of deal. Actually, this one's funny because it gives you all this information, and if you've read it, you don't even need all this. It's like, here's your debt, and the minimum payment is 3.5%. So it gave you this extra information, but you don't really need it. You can just take how much is on the card and take 3.5% of that. So I'm going to multiply that by 0.035. That's going to be the minimum payment. I'm not going to type that in. You can do that. Okay? All right, number 10. If George pays the minimum, how long will it take him to pay this off? Woohoo! Okay, this is where you're going to go to the finance app. And I'm not going to do this right now for the sake of time, and my video is about to cut me off. So go to the finance app. You know, your interest is what it said above, 23.99, I think. What was it? Yeah, 23.99. And your present value is how much money was in there, which I've already forgotten that. It was like 7,000 something, okay? Your monthly payment, you're going to put a negative on that monthly payment that you got, basically the answer from above, whatever that was. And then N is going to be the thing that you have to solve for. So, you know, this is where you can have like a 0 here. You fill all this crap in below. Payments per cycle is going to be 12, guys. Future value, you want to pay it off, so 0. So anyways, type all that in, and hopefully it'll give you something good on the end for number of months. Okay. I haven't read this one yet, so let me read and write some stuff down. Okay, so hopefully you've read it. If not, pause, read it, and come back. But it wants a y equals equation. It wants an equation for this situation. So here's the deal. 1250, well, it's more than 799. And so the first, it says up to 800 gallons. So the first 799 gallons, you have to multiply by 0.09 because that's what it says. But then, since it's in the next group, then you're going to charge 14 cents for all the leftovers. Now, for this problem, you could just do 1250. What's the difference between this and this? Well, you can easily plug that in. It wants it as an equation though, so I'm going to write it as x minus 799 because in this case the x is the 1250. So that way you leave it as an x because anything that's between 800 and 1600 you can use this equation and it'll solve it. Okay. Number 12, for what domain does your function from 15, I don't know what that means. Okay. Model the cost. So I think it meant number 11. For what domain does your function model the cost? Well, the domain is what I just said. Duh, it's anything between 800 and 1600. So, okay, that's weird. But if it goes over 1600, then you have to use a different equation. Okay, is this almost over? Because my video runs out in 30 seconds. Holy crap. I'm going to just hit pause and write the answers and come back, and hopefully that's enough time. Okay, this is a step function. We talked about it earlier. Number 14. Up to 9 pounds is 15, but you have to add another 15 because 25 minus 9 is 11. You divide that by 5 and it's